Hi everyone, welcome back. Today we're back in the shop for another new week to get ready to go racing, and I think we're gonna start making some spare parts just in case. Thank you all so much for watching. I greatly appreciate it. Please consider subscribing if you haven't yet already, because it helps me so much. You hear me say it every single week, but it just does. It helps with the algorithm. It helps with reach. It helps with ad revenue. And trust me, every cent that I make on ad revenue goes right back into what I'm doing on here. I don't live off of that. I have a job for that. And it just helps, genuinely. It's way better than nothing, let me tell you that. Another way that you can support the channel, besides a free click of the mouse to stay up to date on everything that I do, is to go to GleasonBrosRacing.com. We have race team merch, we have channel merch, we have all sorts of stuff that's actually pretty affordably priced. And again, if I ever get a free day, I've got a few ideas to help expand some of that stuff and maybe offer a few more items for sale. And that is a direct way to support me and the channel. Again, every cent that I make goes right back into the channel. I don't live off any of that stuff. I don't live extravagantly, as you can tell, especially with my 20-year-old used sweatshirt that my father gave me that I still have. Anyway, we're getting back to work on the car because, well, we kind of have to since we're on the weekly grind again. There's a ton of stuff to do every single week just to make sure that this thing gets through a feature race. One of those ways is to have spare parts handy. And in the box of goodies, I got rear end parts. All from Rock Auto. I got 2 magnets for that order. That's pretty sweet. I also have 2 racing axles. I believe they're the same kind of metallurgy, the same basic, what's the word I'm looking for here? The same basic metal type. I think one has a bigger lip on the outside than the other one because, for some reason, they are not the same length, and they probably should be. That's a little, off-putting because, okay, now I'm questioning things. I didn't notice that before. They're supposed to be the same length. You know what I love about this channel is that I find out things in real time and share them with you guys. I'm going to have to do some research now. You notice how I'm sitting here telling you about what we're going to do, and then all of a sudden, screeching halt. At least you can tell I'm authentic. Well, figured it out. Apparently I ordered the wrong one somehow. You know how you go on Rock Auto and they have a list of all the parts? Well, apparently they had one that was longer than all the rest of them, which were that length. And you're probably asking, well, why'd you buy a new axle on Rock Auto? Well, stock axles are, well, dangerous if you run a stock rear. This one right here is the correct one. I believe this was made by, and I'm looking for it here. This one was made by Moser. So this is a pretty reputable brand, pretty reputable axle. These are made, actually I believe it's a better metal. It's not as hard, right? But it'll flex. But it's also so it won't shatter like a stock axle. I forget what the metal is for it, but I know it's about the same as this one. That's why I purchased it, because you could look up what they're made out of. But I don't understand that they would offer a axle that's a couple inches longer for the same rear end. They didn't make them in different, I don't know. Luckily I saved the box, so I'll probably just send that one back and get the right one. I mean, it'll delay me a few days, but it's honestly not going to be a huge deal. It's just, I hate that they did that. Why would you offer a different axle length for an axle where you can't get different axle lengths? Oh well, axle's not going to kill us right now. We can get the rest of it done, slap an axle in it, throw a C-clip on it, and then put the cover on. It's not a huge deal. It just sucks that I have to ship it. All right, so there's one problem that we have to resolve, but we got a few more as well. Well, I got that one packaged up and ready to go out. All right, let's make it actually certain here. 20. I forget how to measure these. They said 20 something and whatever. 27 and something. Yeah. All right, so that's 27 and whatever. I think it's supposed to be 27 and 5/8, but I'll double check it, so I'll have to put in another order. And like I said, the ones that they have on Rock Auto, they're not 4340, which this one might be. I'm not sure what they made the Mosier axles out of, but that one's definitely going to go on the right rear. But they make them in 1541 on Rock Auto, which is like the next highest to 4340. And I'll just buy that one and throw it on the left rear. Should be a lot better than stock. And if anybody from the old school remembers when we used to run stock axles, they remember these tires flying off quite a bit. So racing axles was a big upgrade for these stock 10-bolt rears. Oh man, that was a while. Didn't film the whole thing, but you get my drift. Cut a bunch of unnecessary stuff off, like the pads and the brake line mounts and other stuff, and I took my needler here, which if you're running a stock vehicle and you don't have one of these guys, the little needler, to knock a bunch of the scale and rust off, you're missing out. Go buy one. But it knocked a whole bunch of stuff off. It actually made the rear pretty clean. I mean, now I got to knock these out and basically hose the housing out because it's disgusting. And then we can start the rebuild process. And once that new axle comes in, then we can at least finish it. But it ain't here yet. And it ain't going to be for most of the week. However, today I got to get out of here right now because I have other plans. So I'll pick this up whenever I show back up. All right, a couple days later, been busy a little bit doing regular life stuff. I'm going to work on the maintenance of the car first. I know I've been working on this rear end, trying to get a spare one put together. Clearly, we don't have all the parts yet because I had to order them. However, that can wait. I already have a spare. I do need to get it done ASAP, though. I don't want to go without something like that. However, this car needs to be fixed and be ready for the next race because that's more important. Got to prioritize here today. So that's what we're going to do. I might put the car up in the air a little higher so I can reach underneath it. I'm going to go probably grease the drive shaft. I put a temperature gauge on the rear axle when I was there last time. Seemed fine. I think it was like 108 degrees. It's not that bad. Especially since you can't cool those things. They're factory and you got a bunch of oil in them. So if it was like 300 degrees, then we'd really have a problem. But no, it's been that way its whole life, so it should be fine. I'm just going to probably pull the front hubs apart, at least the caps, and tighten the wheel bearing just a little bit because when they wear in, they tend to loosen up a little bit. So you got to always kind of go in and make sure that they adjust properly. So we're going to do that, put a grease gun up front. Once over the thing, make sure nothing's rubbing, nothing's... As soon as I say that, I find something that I don't like, so I'm going to go check on that too. And just kind of once over it, like we always do. And the parts hoarder is struck again. Found these old spring perches that look like they were from front jacking bolts, but they would work perfect on the rear axle. Just slap them down, weld the sides on, maybe put one little tab for a brace, like right there or something. Who knows? But those would be perfect. I don't have to make those. So just slap them on and weld them in place. You'll be good to go. But my problem is that in order for me to weld them in place properly, I have to put them under the car first. And that might suck. Thinking about it, I bet you I could just measure the axle from, let's see, the disc brake plate. Because of how I have mine, it's off of the factory spot where the drum backing plate actually bolts onto it. I'll show you guys how I build these rears when I get to it, but I might just measure from the center line of that to where the spring probably would be. But at the same time, it's like, maybe I should just put it in and weld it up and then take it out. But that's a lot of work. But at the same time, it would be done right. So I've got to mull that over for a minute and then figure that out. But I'm going to do the maintenance first. I was inspecting the front and I found the inner wheel bearing seal was spinning in the race on the right front. So I said, all right. So I took the whole hub assembly apart and the grease was starting to look a little brownish. So I said, all right, fine. So I packed the wheel bearing and I spread the seal out because apparently I didn't have another one. And it went in pretty tight. So just do that for a little bit. Seal it up. Should be okay. I'm probably going to have to get in here and maybe make an adjustment to the ride height here anyway, because we're pretty tall. I got to bring it down a little bit, make it a little more competitive. I don't really know. But at this point, I'm actually working on the rear end again. And you can see I've got this carrier. I don't have a 3 Series carrier, which is what you need for this ring gear. So I actually have one of those spacers, which I hate. I put new bearings on the carrier. It is rusty looking, but that's okay. It's dry, so it's not like it's a huge deal. I don't have a good spot blaster either. The media that I have is really aggressive, and it doesn't come out of the gun very well. But I took and I put these bolts in that came with this carrier spacer because they're grade 8 bolts, and this should be fine, but they're a little longer. And I don't know, my torque wrench was not working in reverse because these are all reverse thread. So what I did was I grabbed this cheap old Harbor Freight jobby here that you pretty much just bolt onto your regular ratchet, and I set it to, they got to be like, I think they said 60 to 70 foot-pounds. So I said, all right, I'll split the difference, 65 foot-pounds. And I did it until it beeped at me, and the number said about 65. And then I took a paint pen. By the way, I red Loctited all these. And I put little lines on it so that if they start backing out, we will know. Since it's still light out and I got a few more hours until I have league night for my iracing league that I'm part of, I'm just going to keep going. I have to go pound races into that housing. I got to empty at least a can of brake clean into it and wipe it out because it's still disgusting. I got to get my race driver and I got to do that. And I got to start setting depths, and it's going to be a complete nightmare. Well, we got her cleaned up really well. We got new races put in to at least the main housing. I did take one of these rags and soak the thing in brake parts cleaner. And I used a rod and I shoved it down the tubes to get it as clean as possible because there's a bunch of gunk and stuff that gets trapped in there. But I think we got her cleaned out as good as we can get it without really making something out of nothing. So I think now is the time we're going to start putting axle bearings in, and not sure how far I'm going to get today since it's a league night, but we can get pretty far. So as I'm setting up the bearing driver for the seals and bearings on the axles, it reminds me of an old story I have from running one of these rears in one of these cars. I had once gone to, let's just say, a cheaper automotive parts company that is, it's got its own zone, but I went to get axle bearings for a 10-bolt, 7.5-inch rear for one of these cars because that's the rules that we have. I said, I want Timken bearings or something equivalent. I want good bearings. You see how these bearings have a shoulder on them that's very defined, and it's going to hold that thing in? Well, they said, well, we got one of those, but the other one we got is the store brand. And I said, damn it all. Just give me the store brand. I put it up here into the axle, used the appropriate items, the bearing drivers, hit it once, the entire bearing shattered. So I was out whatever money I spent on that, but get ones that are good. This is a Koyo. I've never had a problem with them, but it's got the full shoulders. It's got the retainers. Don't buy cheap shit. All right, well, axle bearings are in, and none of them shattered. And the seals are in as well. Still waiting on my axles to show up, but this thing is ready to be reassembled. Now, I parts washed everything. I even have the ring gear and the bearings on the carrier. It's just a matter of now figuring out what to do next, but that can wait for another day. I've been up since 5:45 this morning. It is past 5:45 now, and I'm tired. I'd like to go in and get some rest. So I think I'm going to do that and go partake in league night, and I will be back tomorrow. We're going to start on more maintenance for this thing because that's what's important. After that, maybe we'll get back to work on the rear end. Again, priority is the car itself, not the spare parts at this moment. Spare parts are lovely to have, but we have to make sure the regular car is ready. So we'll get to that tomorrow. All right, next day, I've made myself very handy, and I've created something that is honestly something I should have had a long time ago, and it's going to save me a lot of time, headache, effort, everything in between. Well, I would say pardon the mess, but you guys know who I am. But I've spent the greater part of this afternoon making something that I've needed for a very, very long time, especially when it comes to building one of these GM 7.5-inch 10-bolt rear ends, which I do. I've built 9-inch rears. They're far easier to build than these. But since we run a factory type rear in these, well, these used to be a metric G-body car. This one's full tube, but it's what's mandated, so I got to run it. But building these, you have to have shims underneath the pinion to set the pinion depth so that you can mesh the gears, the ring gear and the pinion gear appropriately. Now, what I've made is this. Yes, it's a pinion bearing. Yes, I took it out of the gear set that was in the factory rear that's in front of the car that you can't see because I wanted to make a setup bearing. And now these bearings, these pinion bearings on the pinion at the lower part where the shim goes, they are press fit. You have to press them in a press, which I have one over there somewhere. And you have to find the right depth. Now, it might take you a few tries to find it. You got to use like this jaw vise and yank the thing off. It's such a pain to do it without one of these setup bearings, and I wish I'd known about this or even tried to make one sometime in the past. But now I've made one. And the way I did it was with the vise and this, a drill with a sanding drum bit. So I used it and hogged out the middle of this until basically it had just enough tolerance taken off that I can go like this and very gently line it up, and it slip fits perfectly onto the pinion. And now I can check pinion bearing depth just by doing that. That is an amazing addition. That's going to save me probably hours and a lot of frustration in the shop. That's so cool. I'm so glad we took the time to make that. Now it's going to make my life 10 times easier. Okay, got a status update. She's pretty well together. Got to get some bushings for this thing. I don't know if I have any just kind of laying around or not, but the stockers probably will not do. They'll probably fall out. Pattern came out pretty decent. It's pretty good for new. It's a hair off to the bottom side there, and the coast side is also a hair off to the bottom side. It's almost in the middle, which actually is not too bad when you got brand new gears because it'll tend to wear across it a little easier. So that's pretty good. I got the pinion preload a little stiff, not too bad. It's enough that I can just do this, so it'll wear in. One time I definitely did not put pinion preload to it, and it had a little bit of slop in it after a while, and I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot to do that. So this thing should be good to go. I've got some purchase for it. I got the plates to put here, but I'm still waiting on parts, and backup parts are not the necessity right now. This thing has to get finished. It is, well, pretty much finished anyway. I mean, think about it. Last race, we went green to checkered, and we already know what kind of changes we're going to make, and what we're going to do is not a heck of a lot. Maybe try some different tire sizes, and maybe take a little ride height out of the left front, just because it's high. Other than that, I mean, I got under and greased it, and I'm going to grease the steering and the suspension just maybe I think I did that last race, so maybe I won't do that. It runs fine. I'll put a wrench to stuff, I guess. I like being diligent when it comes to maintenance because if there's a failure on the racetrack and you can trace it back to my carelessness, I don't like that. I don't like the idea of being my own worst enemy or being the reason we don't finish a race. If it comes down to me, if there's a failure, I'm going to be the hardest on me because if I could have prevented something and I was careless about it, there's no sense in me even being on the damn racetrack, to be honest with you. So maintenance is a priority. And I may, sometimes people think I might be overly cautious or over-maintain the car, but does it finish races? Let's just do the little... Oh wait, there's some real wood back here. Let's just do that, just in case. I'm not a superstitious man, but I do believe in some things. And like I said, I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be the reason. So it doesn't make any weird noises. It doesn't vibrate. I've taken a look at it. Everything looks okay so far. If you really want to go in and dive into the rear differential and look at it every single week, if you want to tear a transmission apart every single week, if you want to tear a clutch apart every single week, if you want to look at it just to be safe, it's like, oh boy, I don't have that kind of time. So I kind of go off of my butt and what I feel. And if I feel a weird vibration, I'm going to look into it. If I feel like there's a rattle somewhere, I'll look into it. If it drives like it did last race, like a Cadillac with absolutely no issues whatsoever, I'll grease it and send it back out on the racetrack. I'm not going to unnecessarily do work, but I also don't want to sit here and have to replace something after it broke because I didn't replace something. So there's a fine line to walk, and sometimes you don't know where it is, but if you maintain it, you're usually pretty good. So at this point, I think I've done all the maintenance items that I probably should have done. Thing is greased, drive shaft's greased. I even went under there and vigorously grabbed the yokes and saw if any of the pinion or transmission bushings or anything were bad. It was solid as a rock. Everything else seems fine. I even went and looked at the belts to see if they were bad or not, but everything there seems fine too. So, I mean, you can put a wrench to everything, and when everything's tight, I mean, at least you did your due diligence, correct? So I got the tires on it all set. I even put gas in it. This thing's actually pretty ready to go on scales. And I think tomorrow we're going to do that and start on a little bit of geometry because we got to do a little bit of work up front here. And even that shouldn't be too bad. I think with whatever changes we made, we went in the direction that we wanted to with weight and stuff. So not too worried about having to adjust that. And I think with the geometry up front, the changes that we're going to make aren't going to take me all night either. So if I get a nice early start tomorrow, I should have a nice early night as well because I'm going to be loading it up at the same time. So really could just use the night off. Been out here for a while. My feet hurt. I need better work shoes, but I think I'm just going to close up shop and clean up, and hopefully tomorrow goes pretty well. It should, but I'll see you then. Okay, it's the next day. It is load up day, and actually it's also setup day. It's also pouring rain outside. I got one of the axles in. Hopefully it's the right one, but we got this to take care of. Gotta add another one. There we go. But all that's on the back burner for now because we need this car to be ready. I do not want to load on Fridays. It is kind of... it's just one of those things I don't want to have to load when I get home from work because it's extra time. If I have the time beforehand in the week, like Thursday's a dedicated day, get the car in the box. That is a priority. Unless absolutely necessary, but if you can do it beforehand, do it. That way when I get home from work, I can hop in my truck, know everything's already set up and ready, take one final walkthrough, see you later, I'm off to the track. So we won't work on the rear end tonight unless we have a lot of time left over and the truck's already loaded, but I think we're just going to get the setup done. We're going to put this on scales. We're going to do a geometry because I got to fix a lot of the left front. I'm not happy with it. And we shouldn't be too far off. I say that. Either way, we're going to get to work. Well, she's in the box for another week. Shop is swept up. Tools are loaded up. Just same exact thing as I always do. So we basically put a setup in it that was a fraction different than last week. Just enough to try to get the tight out of it, and that's pretty much it. So everything seemed good. Fired it up. No issues whatsoever. Loaded it in the trailer. Didn't really smell any burning clutch, so I did my job. And, well, I'll see you guys tomorrow, and maybe the rain will hold off. Maybe not. But that's always a possibility up in New England. It is the next day, and I am in Stafford proper. I am kind of looking at the weather here, and it doesn't look great. And as soon as I pulled into the town limits, there's rain on my windshield. Great. I hope it doesn't stick around, or at least pours enough early that we can just leave. Of course. Alright. We'll see what happens. Race number 3, and I'm sure I'll forget how many numbers it is very soon. Alright, sorry for the updates. I haven't been doing them, but we've been working really hard. The car is still, even with the changes, it's still the same. It's tight on throttle, on exit. And we're working on it right now. We're trying to fix it. We're adding all sorts of adjustments. Stuff that I've never really done before, but it seems to be working, so we're gonna get back after it. We won our heat race, but we still got work to do. It's the day after. It's actually kind of far into the afternoon after. It's actually lovely outside as well. It's in the 70s. It's sunny, finally. So I get to enjoy at least a little bit of weather. I have not unloaded the car. As you can tell, the garage is empty, as I'm completely and utterly frustrated by it, and we have problems. I don't know what they are yet. We've got big problems, honestly, because every change we've made, everything we've tried, every little adjustment that we make, nothing changes in the car. It's exactly the same. Drives in okay. Once it gets to center, the nose takes off. If I hit the throttle, it just pushes wide and doesn't react. I don't know. We've tried loading the bar up. We've tried no bar load. Everything is exactly the same. We've tried wedge. We've tried less wedge. Exactly the same. We've tried springs. Exactly the same. So there's something wrong with the car somewhere. It's broken. I don't know what it is. So we're going to have to figure it out. So I haven't unloaded the car because tomorrow I'm taking it up to MLZ Fab, my chassis builder, and we are going to not only look at it and make sure there's nothing bent or broken on it, but figure out why it's not reacting. There has to be something bound up in the car. Something has to have gone bad. Something has to have happened to make this thing essentially make the right front not work. So we've got problems and we have to fix them. And if I'm going to have any shot at anything this year, we can't keep doing whatever we're doing. We have to do something. So I'm going to finish out this video probably right now because, you know, there's nothing else to do. We got an empty shop in here. But I'm going to build this rear, which you'll probably see me do a time lapse of, but I want to finish this rear end up and bring it with me when we go and work on the chassis at the fab shop, because it would be nice to have a spare rear in case the one in the car, for whatever reason, just isn't working right or it's not aligned properly. I mean, I strung the car last year with the same rear, same trailing arms, same everything, and we were really good. It's just, I don't know, man. Something's wrong. Might as well have another spare part. I'm bringing everything that deals with suspension, alignment, you name it. I'm bringing springs, shocks, uppers, lowers, trailing arms, rear axle. I'm bringing the whole damn thing. I don't care. We're going to find out what's wrong with this car, and we're going to go back to the way we were and make the thing work again. But I think that's going to be for another video. I'll close it out with that time lapse, but thank you guys so much for watching and hanging in there with me. And even though the YouTube channel itself has kind of tanked, it never really took off, and I've kind of died on the whole viewership thing and died on the subscriber base. I still appreciate all of you who've been there and hung around, and even the new people who have showed up. It's been pretty great. Tell your friends and family or anybody you think may enjoy, you know, a weekly racing vlog, or a guy who likes cars and does everything himself with, you know, some help on the side. But usually about 90% of the time I'm in the shop by myself. That's one way that you could really help me out. Another way is to go to GleasonBrosRacing.com and get some merch, because the channel has merch and the race team has merch. We've got race team shirts. I've got channel hats. I've got novelty shirts. I've got koozie stickers, tumblers, you name it, we got it all on there. I'm looking to expand. It's just that every single day I'm in here, or I'm at work, or I'm doing something at home, and I have no time. I wish that I had a staff that could actually take care of this stuff for me. We ain't there. And maybe someday, but I don't know. So anyway, until next time, guys, we're going to get this thing fixed and we're going to win races, but I knew it wasn't going to be easy, but I didn't think it was going to smack us in the face right off the rip. But, you know, we're just kind of making do right now, and that's not good enough. So we'll figure it out. But until next time, guys, thanks for watching. I greatly appreciate you.